If you've got a Pulse and a Facebook Marketplace account, you've seen the same cheap dynos I have. Today, we're going to show you how to get one running. So a dyno itself is pretty simple. Wayne, I mean, you open the hood. I've actually never been under the hood of a dyno, but I know how they work in theory. Point out kind of the main mechanical parts.
Okay, you have the rotating mass. So this one has this 500-pound weight on the end. You have the mass of the eddy brake on it, and they're called eddy brake retarders. They were actually pioneered the technology on bullet trains because...
Yeah. It's basically a circular bullet train that can apply more force to the car, right? And then a load cell. Okay,
so when the brake power is being applied, this is on a center bearing, and it pushes down on this or it lifts up on that. It's called the load cell. It's no different than any other scale that you've ever stepped on, electronic-wise, that just squeezes and it changes a mechanical input into an electrical output, which the dyno can read.
And this stuff is hooked to the rollers, so basically it's kind of three pretty darn simple pieces of mechanical hardware that don't usually break, right? I mean, these are dead reliable on a dyno.
The hardware is very robust. You have these huge pillow block bearings. This has no contact, so there's nothing to wear out.
So there's not really even, okay, so this doesn't break. What are all the broken dynos from?
Most of the broken dynos are from the electronics because...
Oh, like this.
like this one. So I bought this dyno in 2005. It was produced in 1999, I believe, according to the serial number. And this computer was born somewhere in there. It's running Windows 98. And all of the drivers are for printers or keyboards or even wireless mouse. Not operational on this old stuff.
I've never seen so many butt connectors and like loose wires. And
so I've had to basically band-aid this thing back together to keep it running over the last 20 years. So
is this a ground jumper to your PCI card or whatever is earlier, ISA card?
This is an ISA card. It's pre-PCI. So I've got a ground wire coming into here because the load cell had lost its ground through the ISA card. These cards are no longer available and haven't been available.
I get it. Okay, I mean, look at it. And we haven't dressed this up for the camera or anything. I've seen Wayne dynoing my cars on this setup somehow, and sparks don't even usually come out of it. So what would it cost, just ballpark numbers, if you call the dyno maker and say, hey, I'd like, you don't need to name names or anything, but hey, I want a new computer for my dyno. What would it cost? Like $1,000? I mean, a gaming PC's $2, so maybe half that?
My options when I called the manufacturer were I can buy a newer computer that has ISA slots, and I'm still married to these broken ISA cards that are just band-aided together. And that entire computer, there's one company out in California that makes them, $1,900 for just the computer.
And that still you keep all of this. That's just a new box.
Keep all of this. And still have these 25-year-old components.
What if you want to roll the whole cart to the curb and get a bigger than a 15-inch monitor and it could send email, maybe an internet connection, that kind of thing?
$12,000 plus.
And what do you pay for the dyno?
Plus a computer. And you look at it and you look on their site, and they're still producing this dyno to this day because it's such a robust design that you can buy you can buy a used one right now. I got an email this week that says I can buy a one with all the software and everything for $27,000.
Jeez. Okay, so 13 grand for a computer, or 12, whatever, or 2 to keep the cart. What if I told you there was a third option, Wayne? That's basically dumb hardware, right? The actual dyno, it's a couple pretty universal components.
Yes.
So in theory, anybody could rig something up to run it in their garage, right?
As far as the hardware goes, yes.
Okay.
The software has so much math involved that you need a dedicated software. But the hardware itself...
But the software doesn't really care what brand dyno it's plugged into.
No.
So you could call yourdyno.com,
right,
get their universal kit, and repower your dyno for what, $2,000 all in?
Yeah. These two components here, all you need to run your eddy current, water brake, or hub dyno, inertial dyno, anything that you want to make into a dyno, including model engines. If you wanted to go...
So basically, if you've got some bearings, a piece of mass, and a load cell, With the setup, you've got a dyno.
You've got a dyno.
Okay.
So the only difference is if you've got a water brake, you've got a stepper motor to open and close the valve. So you don't need this. This will run the water brake stepper motor all by itself. And for an eddy current that has a electrical brake like this one, you'll need the brake controller. Or if you just pick up an old dyno jet that's just a single drum roller that's inertial, here you go.
So if you haven't figured it out by now, that's today's mission. We are going to basically jailbreak Wayne's dyno. We're going to get rid of the proprietary $12,000 cart of horror, and we're going to put in some yourdyno.com controllers and end up with a dyno you actually own for a couple grand.
Right. So this whole setup is the dyno controller, which has all of the inputs for your widebands, your map sensor, and it has an automatic atmospheric. You just plug it in, it tells you humidity, temperature, and barometric pressure, all automatically adjusted in there, so you always have a corrected run. These two are $2,000, or about $2,000 retail, and then this is my entire mini computer. This is
Where do the ISA cards go?
Yeah, there are none.
A couple $100?
$130.
130. Okay. I think we could actually put this into the slot on the old computer. That is tiny.
So all of this replaces all of this and the control box on the wall over there for
Wow.
the
Okay,
controller.
I'm going to hand this to you.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to wire that up because I don't want to be the one who breaks your dyno. And then we'll see how it goes.
All right, sounds good.
Perfect. Okay, I can read comments from the future, and I can see that you're already heading down to the comments section to say, how is owning a dyno grassroots? Okay, I've got a 2-car garage, I got a Miata, I'm not buying a dyno. You might not be, but a lot of our readers have been emailing us about these kind of used dyno setups. We've got people on our forums trying to build dynos themselves. Everybody is looking for kind of what to do with all of these really old dynos that have perfectly good hardware but terrible software, which is why we kind of wanted to learn how they work and attempt this project. Is it for everybody? Absolutely not, but the DIY dyno community is actually kind of bigger than we ever believed, which is why we kind of wanted to see what it felt like, see what it was like to be cutting wires on a $27,000 piece of equipment. That's why we're here today, and that's why we're making this video.
Old and busted, new and hot.
Okay, it's a couple hours later, actually the next day, and we've been making really, really good progress. Haven't had too much to say because I've mostly been watching Wayne wire parts on the dyno. Hi Wayne, having fun? So we've been spending hours and hours just moving wires around, rewiring the eddy current brake, running HDMI cables to the monitors, all kinds of stuff like that. It hasn't been that interesting to watch, but it's been pretty interesting because the dyno works now. I just went up and ran on the rollers like a treadmill, and we have a torque value, we have an RPM reading, we have a map sensor. It's atmospheric at this point, who knew? But we have a functioning dyno. So Wayne is working on hooking up the last couple channels just to log different parts of the car, and at that point we will have a functional, finished dyno conversion running its own software. So we'll see how it goes. It's dyno day here at Very Cool Parts. We've got our Club Spec Mustang on the freshly repowered Mustang dyno, and today we're going to do some calibration. So first we're going to actually screen share with the folks from yourdyno.com. They're going to help us get the dyno calibrated with its new controllers and such, and then we're going to actually start modifying our Mustang. We'll see what it makes stock, we'll play around with some exhaust options, and we'll play around with some tuning. At the end of the day, we should have a dyno that works great and a Mustang that works great. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so last time I saw a car do a pull on this dyno, it was, what, a 15-inch screen, like 800 by 600 resolution? And when I asked
13-inch.
And when I asked for any details of the run, you had to put it on a compact flash card and then open it on a different computer and then try and dig in and everything. So we just did our first pull with the yourdyno.com software. Give us a tour. What did we learn?
All right, so all of the instruments I get to see, I can look at tire slip, look at how much the brake is applying to it to maintain its values. Obviously, this blue was telling me where my run is going between. Then we come over here to our graph, and the graph, this is 3 different runs. So we had just a little anomaly in here on how the motor makes torque, but very repeatable on separate runs, and it's just great. I've got wheel horsepower.
I was going to say, I see wheel horsepower and engine horsepower, so how is that calculated?
Okay, wheel horsepower is what
actually goes to the rollers,
What
right?
actually goes to the rollers, and based on the inertial weight of the rollers, it calculates that. But then it goes back, and what you don't see on this run is it goes all the way up and then coasts back down. So it measures the inertia of all the running gear, tires, transmission, and calculates how much difference there is.
So that isn't just some generic, oh, it probably has 20%
No,
driveline loss. That's actually measuring driveline loss.
That's actually measuring driveline
Cool.
loss, measuring driveline inertia, because the rollers on the dyno have their own inertia.
Right.
And then it's doing a calculation based on what's offset from there, and we get great numbers and repeatable numbers.
Perfect. So call this experiment a success. Dyno's powered or repowered?
Repowered, it works great, and gives me 10 times more information, and I've just scratched the surface on what the software can do.
Awesome. Well, let's get to work. Let's make more power. If you like this video and you want to see more on our Club Spec Mustang, please make sure you like it, and please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, thanks for letting us crash your shop.
You're welcome.
See you next time.
Want to see more content like this? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And for more information, visit us online at grassrootsmotorsports.com.